Part 32. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 336. Ace was still standing on the desert below. Smoker descended rapidly. A trail of white smoke descended from the sky to the desert near Ace. Smoker didn't look at Ace either, but wanted to see if the desert giant just now had been completely destroyed. At this moment, Ace suddenly asked, "Hey, your attack just now was really well timed." After hearing this, Smoker turned around and said, "I just want to defeat Crocodile. Don't think too much about it. We still have our own goals." "Of course I know that," Ace said calmly. Neither Smoker nor Ace were willing to act as if they were being helped. The more people love fighting, the less willing to be helped. But both sides are aware of this. So even if it is actually helping each other, it is deliberately saying that. Smoker continued to move forward, only to see the remains of desert giants on the desert in front of him. The big explosion just now destroyed most of the desert giants. However, the head, chest and half of the left arm of the desert giant survived. Seeing this scene, Smoker thought that Ace's strength was really terrifying. At this time, suddenly the desert land trembled again. I saw the desert giant that had been destroyed climb up again. A large amount of sand around it also gathered towards the remnant body of the desert giant. The desert giant's body began to grow taller again, and became more complete. "It's really," Smoker said. "Is it difficult to eliminate?" Ace said. The desert giant quickly rose from the ground again. The desert giant recovered quickly and gradually grew to a huge body 300 meters tall. The crocodile-like face also recovered quickly. Ace and Smoker looked up at the behemoth. "The desert giant has fully recovered." The desert giant looked down at the two men. "You can't kill a desert giant." Crocodile's voice came from among the desert giants. The desert giant raised its huge feet and stepped on Smoker and Ace. Smoker quickly turned into white smoke and flew away. Ace's body turned into flames and flew away. Boom! The huge foot of the desert giant stepped on the desert. Smoker flew up again, constantly rising in altitude. Suddenly, the desert giant's hands quickly swatted at him like swatting flying insects. Smoker accelerated quickly, turned, and dodged the attack. The desert giant suddenly opened its mouth. The mouth is aimed at Smoker, and quickly shoots a powerful desert storm. A powerful desert storm blows Smoker into the air and flies him far away. What a powerful desert storm! Smoker struggled to control the speed. The opponent's blowing force was so great that Smoker was blowing so quickly that he lost control. At this moment, Ace came behind the desert giant. Ace landed on the desert ground and looked up at the desert giant. "This time it's my turn to help you." Ace clenched his arms tightly, and at the same time, the strength in his body quickly gathered. When flames appeared around Ace's body, he poured out flames. Flames started out as slender as snakes. Then it quickly thickened and became more and more similar to a solid shape. In the end, it turned into 9 fire dragons. Kowloon Fire Array. The 9 fire dragons roared for a while and then flew out from around Ace's body. 9 fire dragons quickly circled the desert giant, entangled in its attack. Violent explosions continued to occur on the body of the desert giant. The desert giant was forced to stop moving immediately. The 9 fire dragons are still wrapped around this behemoth. Smoker, who was flying in the sky, also regained his strength. He changes direction quickly. At the same time, Smoker's body flew towards the desert giant's head. Smoker spun rapidly while flying at high speed. White smoke. Bow and arrow. Smoker shot at the desert giant's head like a huge bow of white smoke. The desert giant looked at him suddenly, and opened its mouth again. This time the violent desert storm spit it out again. The desert storm was extremely violent, and directly impacted Smoker's white smoke bow and arrow. But how could the white smoke bow and arrow that smoke turned into be blocked by the desert storm? The white smoke bow and arrow shot straight into the mouth of the desert giant. Boom! There was a violent explosion. The white smoke bow and arrow penetrated the desert giant's head. Smoker looked back after rushing out from behind the desert giant's head. I saw that due to the impact just now, the head of the desert giant was thrown back. This is not over yet. Ace's fist on the ground behind the desert giant has already gathered amazing power. Fire punch. Ace's right fist gathered astonishing strength and punched out. Quickly a huge flaming fist hit the desert giant's right leg. Boom. The flaming fist hit the desert giant's right leg. Distance from the blast spawned. The force of the explosion knocked the desert giant's right leg forward. One up and one down, two attacks in front and back. Let the desert giant lose its balance. The desert giant quickly fell backwards. Ace quickly dodged. The desert giant fell heavily on the desert land. Suddenly the desert felt like an earthquake. Dust is also raised a lot. Smoker landed again. He stands on the desert land. Smoker glanced at Ace. Ace returned a glance. Although the two people did not cooperate verbally, they helped each other to save face. Bell in the sky saw the fallen desert giant below. These two people are really powerful and unimaginable, Bell said with emotion. Smoky Hunter Smoker and Fire Fist Ace, two natural type devil fruit abilities, the two powerhouses fought against the desert giant at the same time. The battles are spectacular and exciting. After the desert giant was knocked down, it stood up again, and at the same time used the sand on the desert land to restore its body. The desert giant has regained its huge body. Crocodile's voice came out again among the huge desert giants. You guys are so crazy. Don't try to defeat me even if it's two people against me. But I will enjoy fighting you. Crocodile's voice shook the sky. Although Ace and Smoker were 2-on-1, Crocodile still had the advantage. Oh, it seems that we will continue to fight desperately, Ace said. He's an unbeatable guy, said Smoker. At this time, the desert giant was undergoing another change. The two huge arms of this behemoth began to change. The desert giant's astonishingly large right arm began to change, and finally turned into an astonishingly huge scimitar. The desert giant's left arm also began to change, and finally turned into a huge shield. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 337. Bell saw this amazing scene in the sky. My God, what a terrible thing this is, Bell said in shock. Now the desert giant has a scimitar in his right arm and a shield in his left arm. Like a gigantic desert warrior. Huge desert warriors wield huge shields and scimitars. Ace and Smoker looked at the desert giant. Now the desert giant has become armed. According to the way the desert giant can change its shape, it must be able to change more weapons. Crocodile's voice came out from among the desert giants again. Now, let me show you the real desert scimitar. Crocodile's voice resounded throughout the desert. The desert giant waved the huge desert scimitar on its right arm and raised it high. This huge desert scimitar is comparable to many large sailing ships. Suddenly the huge desert scimitar chopped down. Ace and Smoker hurried to dodge. One of the two people turned into flames, the other into smoke, and flew away quickly. But the desert scimitar is extremely fast. Boom! The desert scimitar struck the desert ground. Huge clouds of dust rose into the sky. The desert giant raised his right arm again. I saw a bottomless ravine hundreds of meters long and 5 meters wide appearing below. The appearance of such a gully in the middle of the desert looks as terrifying as an earthquake. Deep in the ravine, fire flickered below. Then a flame flew up. The flame quickly turned back into a human form. A white smoke also flew up quickly, turning into a human form. This is the terrifying attack of the desert scimitar, Ace said in shock as he looked at the huge ravine to the side. Smoker looked at the huge gully that just came out, and even at his speed just now, he couldn't escape it. But fortunately, both of them are body elements, so they can avoid this kind of direct attack. The two looked at the huge desert giant above again. The huge desert scimitar held by the desert giant is extremely powerful and fast. Seeing this huge monster, Smoker then said, "This is not acceptable. You must take the initiative to attack." Smoker quickly elementalized his body into smoke again and soared into the sky. Smoker flew swiftly, gaining as much speed as possible. This flying speed can even compete with Bell's speed. Smoker flew to the desert giant's head again. The huge desert scimitar on the right arm of the desert giant swung it, slashing fiercely at Smoker, who was flying. This huge desert scimitar is not only powerful, but also has an astonishing impact. The air is torn apart by huge desert scimitars. The huge impact affected Smoker as well. Although it was only aftermath, Smoker lost his balance. "Hold onto." Smoker gritted his teeth, and continued to fly over the head of the desert giant. Smoker quickly flew to the head of the desert giant. Smoker finally landed on top of the desert giant's head. "It's 300 meters high here." Smoker took out the 10 hands on his back. "Hey, crocodile. It's useless for you to hide inside. Don't you dare to come out and fight with me, you coward," Smoker said excitedly. The desert giant has no more obvious actions now. Smoker stood above the desert giant and continued to provoke. "Really, don't you have the guts?" Smoker said contemptuously. At this moment, a cloud of sand suddenly bulged above the desert giant's head. Then quickly transformed into a human form. Smoker looked at the other person. It was Crocodile. Crocodile looked at Smoker with a gloomy face. "Navy, you are capable. You have come to this place," Crocodile said. Smog looked at his opponent and said, "Crocodile, if you have the ability, you can compete with me. Don't keep hiding among this desert giant. I also want you to taste the power of my scorpion poison needle." Crocodile showed the golden scorpion needle on his left arm and said. Smoker also aimed 10 hands at Crocodile. Crocodile's scorpion stings quickly turned black. And it has a metallic luster. The arm domineering covered the scorpion needle. "Go." Crocodile's left arm melted into sand, and the scorpion stinger floated towards Smoker. Smoker saw scorpion stinger flying towards him. The scorpion stinger flew away quickly. Finally, it went around the back of Smoker's head. Seeing that the scorpion stinger was about to hook Smoker's back of the head. The sharp hooks on this ace weapon covered with domineering colors are enough to pierce the head of an elemental devil fruit user. At this moment, Smoker's 10 hands blocked the scorpion needle with an astonishingly fast backhand. Chong! Smoker's 10 hands blocked the scorpion needle from the side. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Smoker's body elementalized and scattered. Elementalization also depends on the degree of dispersion. If it is elementalized but basically maintains its shape, it is still dangerous. But if it is very scattered, even if it is attacked by an armed domineering weapon, it will still be slightly injured. Therefore, Smoker's body dispersed after being aerosolized, and even if he was killed in this situation, it would not be too serious. After Smoker is elementalized, Crocodile's scorpion stinger is no longer able to attack more effectively. Sha on Crocodile's left arm quickly returned to his body with the scorpion poison needle. But at this moment, Smoker's body suddenly appeared behind Crocodile. He turned back into human form. And he clenched his arms and hit Crocodile's back with 10 hands. Crocodile's body quickly elementalized. Boom! Crocodile's body was hit by Smog's 10 hands, and he quickly flew out more than 10 meters. Crocodile quickly recovered his form, and the scorpion poison needle returned to its place. But even so, Crocodile was severely hit by the blow just now. "Asshole!" Crocodile stood up again. He looked at Smoker, eyes full of anger and doubt. Crocodile's eyes stopped on the 10 hands in Smoker's hand. The feeling of being hit just now was a feeling of déjà vu. A special ore that can take away the ability of a devil fruit. "Navy, "Are your weapons made of sea stone?" Crocodile asked. Smoker glanced at the weapon 10 hands in his hand, and said, "Exactly. My 10 hands are made of halostone." "No wonder," Crocodile said. "In this world, there are devil fruits, the embodiment of the power of the Sea.It contains everything in the world. But since there is power, there are things that can restrain it. Sea water can weaken and restrain the ability of devil fruit users. Halostone is a special mineral in the sea, which can take away the abilities of devil fruit users. Many people use swords and various weapons made of sea stones to deal with enemies with devil fruit abilities. Even the elemental devil fruit ability users cannot escape." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 338. Smoker looked at Crocodile and said, "It is precisely because there are many pirates and bad guys with devil fruit abilities who do evil. So I specially ask someone to help me make this juju made of sea stone." Crocodile looked at Smoker's 10 hands, the expression on his face changed from anger to complacency. "I see. But I also have a way to make your weapon less room for use," Crocodile said sinisterly. Smoker looked at this insidious enemy and said, "Yeah." Crocodile stood still, his body began to change rapidly. A layer of black power covered his body. Has a metallic luster. Just now, it was only the part of the scorpion poison needle on the left arm that was armed with domineering color. Now Crocodile's entire body is covered with armed domineering. The appearance of Crocodile is still the same, but the whole body is covered with black metallic luster. It's like a metal sculpture. Smog looked at Crocodile, who was armed and domineering, so it could be said to be troublesome. "Okay, Navy. Come on," Crocodile said. Smoker looked straight at Crocodile, then clasped 10's hands tightly. "Okay, take the move," Smoker said. "White fist." Smoker's arms and legs quickly evaporated. His body flew apart quickly. Fists and feet fly around Crocodile. The initial attack of these fists and kicks had the effect of disrupting the vision. A fist hit Crocodile head on. Boom. Smoker's fist hit Crocodile hard on the head. But it was like hitting steel. Crocodile's body was not injured in the slightest. At this moment, Smoker's 2 feet kicked Crocodile from both sides of his body and hit him in the waist. Dong dong. These 2 kicks were like kicking on steel. 1 punch and 2 kicks failed to hurt Crocodile. At this moment, Smoker clenched his last hand tightly and quickly stabbed down from the front of Crocodile's chest. Clang. There was a harsh bang. Smoker's 10 hands collided fiercely with the armed domineering force on Crocodile's chest. Although Crocodile's body is covered with armed domineering, the strength is astonishingly huge. Even Crocodile fell quickly. Smoker's body quickly regained its shape. He looked at the fallen Crocodile. The blow just now knocked Crocodile down, but it didn't hurt Crocodile. Crocodile stood up again. He looked sullenly at Smoker. Although the domineering Crocodile was not hurt by virtue of the armed color, he was also impacted and fell down. Armed color domineering itself can resist the attack of devil fruit ability users. At the same time, once a devil fruit user who has mastered this ability uses the armed color domineering, he can also resist the attack of Halashi weapon. "You are still very capable," Crocodile said, praising Smog. Smoker looked at Crocodile and said, "You are very powerful. But you are not completely invincible. I have also seen people who are more powerful than you who use armament hacking. Thank you for the compliment. But there is no absolute invincibility in this world. So you often need some assistance. And the power of assistance needs to be in your own hands. Just like this desert giant. Because the human heart is the most unreliable," Crocodile said. Smoker waved his hands and said, "Keep fighting. Smoker's body moved rapidly. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared from his position. Crocodile's eyes were slightly puzzled. But he felt an enemy attack from above. I saw Smoker flying down quickly from above. And grasped the 10 hands tightly with both arms. Don't think you're the only one who can use that skill. Suddenly, the 10 hands that Smoker clenched were quickly filled with black power and metallic luster. Crocodile looked at Smoker in shock. Armed color domineering. Smoker will also use the armed color domineering. Smoker injected a lot of armed domineering into the 10 hands. Armed color domineering covered 10 hands. Now the 10 hands have become stronger on the basis of the original. Armed color domineering general training level is harder than steel. If it hits a different weapon, the effect will be different. For example, hitting on a spear is more offensive than focusing on the body. Just imagine, spears can also pierce armor. Smoker is in this state now, his hands are covered with armed domineering, stabbing down like a spear. The armed arrogance on Crocodile is just like a pair of steel armor. With this kind of strength and speed, and relying on the sharpness of the 10 hands, Crocodile's armed domineering will definitely be pierced. Not good. A group of sand quickly protruded from Crocodile's body to wrap his body. Don't even think about escaping. Smoker's 10 hands had already stabbed down along with his body. The ball of sand was attacked by a huge force and exploded into a cloud of dust. But inside Crocodile has disappeared. Smoker landed on top of the desert giant's head below. Looking around now, Crocodile is still without a trace. When Crocodile was almost attacked just now, he quickly hid among the desert giants. After all, he can turn into sand, and hiding among this desert giant is easy. Damn it! Where on earth is it? Smoker always paid attention to his surroundings. At this time, behind Smoker. Scorpion stings emerge individually from the sand below. And quickly covered with armed color domineering. The assassination weapon quickly flew towards Smoker's back. Not good. Smoker's combat instincts quickly recognized a sneak attack. He suddenly wanted to dodge. But his back was already caught by the hook of the scorpion poison needle. There was a sharp pain, and Smoker had no time to think of anything else. Quickly trample the sand below with your feet. A shave moves Smoker's body away. Smoker also mastered the shaving among the 6 styles. It can step on the ground dozens of times in an instant and move quickly. Smoker's body quickly moved to a position several meters away. Only then can he catch his breath. No, the current crisis is not over. The scorpion needle continued to fly over. The 10 hands in Smoker's hand were quickly covered with armed domineering. At the same time, the 10 hands spun like a windmill. Chong! The incoming scorpion stinger was blown away by Smoker's spinning hands. Immediately afterwards, Smoker could feel the severe pain behind him. There was a large wound on his back. Blood flowed horizontally, and blood kept gushing out from the wound. Smoker's white navy uniform was dyed bright red. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 339. Smoker said through gritted teeth. At this time, Crocodile emerged from the desert giants. Smoker saw Crocodile look at him with a stern look. You are injured. My scorpion needle is still quite effective, Crocodile said slowly and gloomily. Humph, you have an absolute advantage over me with this desert giant, Smoker said. Crocodile looked at Smog and said, you said I took advantage of the desert giant. This is the law of victory and defeat. If a person does not take advantage of the conditions that are favorable to him, how can he win? And speaking of this, Crocodile's tone suddenly became more gloomy, and seemed a little crazy. Do you know why I came near these ancient pyramids? Crocodile pointed to the nearby ancient pyramids. Smoker said, what's going on? Smoker had no idea that Crocodile's target was Hades. When Crocodile went here, he immediately pursued him. Crocodile looked at the ancient pyramid in the middle. There once was a super powerful ancient weapon sleeping in this country. Under the ancient pyramid in the middle is the weapon sleeping. That is the legendary Hades, Crocodile said ambitiously. Smoker's eyes trembled slightly after hearing the word Pluto. Although Smoker is not someone from a CP intelligence agency who is well versed in all kinds of rumors about the world. But I also learned some relevant information from my years of experience. He once heard the legend of Hades from some captured pirates. Crocodile moved his gaze to Smog again and said, Pluto does exist in history. And this ancient weapon can destroy an island with one shot. It is an extremely powerful weapon. Through many years of lurking and after accumulating intelligence, I finally found the location of Hades. Once I have it, I can use it as a backing to form more forces of my own. First, capture Alabasta and surrounding areas. Then, the major countries on the Great Route. Finally, the Four Seas. Even the world government will eventually be overturned and replaced by me. I will break through this desert and transform from the king of the desert to the real king of the world. Crocodile even expressed his thoughts with some fanaticism. Crocodile expressed his evil plan so enthusiastically. Smoker was shocked when he heard this. He has seen many ambitious people what to be a pirate captain and dominate the Great Route. Some people even claim to be the One Piece. But Crocodile actually figured out to rule the world. Let everyone in the world surrender to him. What a wicked plan, said Smoker. He looked at the ancient pyramid in the middle at the same time. Not to mention Crocodile's evil thoughts. But is there really that terrifying ancient weapon under the ancient pyramid in the middle? In this case, Smog will stop Crocodile no matter what. Crocodile looked at Smoker's expression and said triumphantly, okay, let's continue fighting. Then I will clean up all the people who stand in the way. Then I can wake up Hades. Then I have to stop you too. Smoker was suddenly filled with the will to fight. Smoker clenched his left fist, and then partially armed with domineering cover. Smoker's left fist became filled with black metallic luster. Immediately after, Smoker's left arm began to smoke. He aimed his left fist at Crocodile. White Snake. Smoker's left fist was fired like a cannonball. A long white smoke trail was drawn out from behind the metal-like fist covered in armed domineering force. Attacked Crocodile with a domineering fist of armed color. This time Crocodile quickly turned the scorpion needle on his left arm into a domineering color again, and then his left arm turned into sand. His scorpion needle also flew out, flying towards Smoker. The eyes of both of them were fixed on their own fists and scorpion needles. The black fist and the black scorpion needle quickly approached. Chong! The two collided fiercely. It is also a flexible long-range attack, and Smoker is slightly stronger in strength and speed. But Crocodile did not fall behind. The two were basically tied, the fist and the scorpion needle opened their distance and attacked each other. But every time they attack, both sides have to pull back the fists and scorpion needles they fired. In this way, the fierce fighting between the domineering fist of the armed color and the poisonous needle of the scorpion is covered. Chiang 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 chiang. There was a fierce battle between Smoker's fist and Crocodile's scorpion needle. Sparks flew everywhere, but the two deities calmly manipulated their body parts to fight. After a fierce battle, the two were evenly matched. But it really depends on the strength of both sides. In terms of overall strength, Crocodile still has the upper hand, but when it comes to melee combat, Smoker has the upper hand. Just as Smog and Crocodile were fighting fiercely above the desert giant's head. Bell has been watching the battle from the sky. He really sighed and said what it means to be a true strong man who stands tall and strong. You don't even need to move your body, you only need a part of your body to fight at a long distance. Ace stood under the desert giant and looked at this huge behemoth. It's hard to see the situation above here. But now it is certain that the desert giant will not move for the time being. The desert giant that Crocodile created with all his strength was different from the previous Sphinx. Although the desert giant is as powerful as an evil god. But Crocodile needs to be manipulated personally. Now Crocodile is fighting Smoker. Crocodile emerges from the desert giant. This caused the desert giant to stop moving. The desert giant now looks like a majestic giant sand sculpture, looking intimidating, but motionless. Since this is the case, then I will strike. Ace's arms and body quickly gathered strength again. Ace's arms were burning, and the strength in his body was constantly concentrated on his arms. Ace's body also started to run. He rushed under the desert giant's left leg. Here, Ace's arms and body spun violently. The great strength of his whole body began to explode. Fire ring. Fire pillar. Ace's power burst out from his arms and rose from under the desert giant's left leg. An astonishingly huge pillar of fire lifted the desert giant's huge left leg into the sky from below. Boom 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 boom. Explosions kept happening. The desert giant's left leg began to collapse and explode. With its left leg destroyed, the desert giant began to shake violently. Smoker and Crocodile, who were fighting over the head of the desert giant, felt their surroundings vibrate. "What's going on?" Crocodile said in shock. Could it be him? Smoker thought of Ace below. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 340. The desert giant fell like a collapsing building. Crocodile quickly took back the scorpion needle and turned it into sand and entered it among the desert giants. Smoker's body turned into white smoke and flew away. Ace's face on the ground was covered with sweat. Seeing that the desert giant's left leg and part of its body were destroyed, his expression became joyful. The attack just now is much more powerful than the previous Yanja. Fire pillar. Enough to severely damage the desert giant. The desert giant continued to fall after being hit hard. In the end, he couldn't support himself and fell down heavily. The desert land suddenly trembled like an earthquake. Smoker, Bell, and Ace looked at the fallen desert giant, knowing that it would stand up again. Sure enough, the desert giant got up again, quickly absorbed countless sand from the desert, and recovered again. The behemoth stood up again. After the desert giant regained its footing, he looked at Ace below and Smoker in the air. "Assholes, I'm going to chop you to pieces." Crocodile's earth-shattering voice sounded. The desert giant then swung a huge desert scimitar and slashed at Ace below. Ace dodges quickly. This time I was prepared. He directly elementalized into a flame and quickly flew to a higher sky. In the air, Ace and Smoker surrounded the desert giant with a flame and white smoke. The two attacked separately. White smoke. Bow and arrow. Smoker's body flew to extreme speed, spinning like a huge bow and arrow. Fire punch. Ace gathered his strength in the air and punched out a fire fist. Huge white smoke bows and huge flaming fists attacked the desert giant. There were bursts of explosions, and the sand on the desert giant was blown up. However, Crocodile is constantly using its power to mobilize the sand on the desert land to replenish the body of the desert giant. This is a 300-meter-tall behemoth constantly wielding the terrifying huge desert scimitar. The desert scimitar was swung continuously, although it failed to kill the two of them. But it had a powerful impact. Many places on the ground were affected. The ground is full of huge desert ravines. The white smoke and flames were continuous explosions surrounding the desert giant. Bell in the sky kept observing the battle. This scene is inferior even compared to Desert Storm. Soaring over the desert land of Alabasta all the year round, it was the first time for Bell to see such a spectacular sight. Just as the battle was in full swing. In the southern direction of the ancient pyramid, a large group of people came galloping on horses. These are all cavalry units, and they all come urgently as quickly as possible. These people are none other than Vivi, Cobra, Rog, and Sauron. Rogue, Zorro, Vivi, Cobra, Luffy, Usopp and others were all heading this way together. Now everyone can already see the scene on the other side of the ancient pyramid. Attention everyone, we are almost there, Wei said happily. That's it, Cobra said as he saw the ancient pyramid. Everyone saw 3 ancient pyramids standing on the desert land. These are the 3 extremely mysterious ancient pyramids. It is the most mysterious mystery in Alabasta. What is that? Usopp suddenly shouted. Rog and Sauron looked towards the east of the ancient pyramid. I saw a gigantic giant moving. This giant is also a behemoth formed from sand. Could this guy be the same? Chopper said in shock. Created by crocodile. Everyone said in unison. I saw a giant formed of sand that was as big as those ancient pyramids was fighting. The object of this giant's battle seems to be a flame and a white smoke. Sure enough. Smoker and Sauron said after observing. Look, that's Beljaka said suddenly. I saw a giant falcon hovering in the sky. The giant falcon kept making sharp whistling sounds. Rog looked at the desert giant and said, now that we are all here, let's deal with the enemy together. Luffy and Usopp also said excitedly, yes. Let's kill him together. Everyone shouted together. A group of people and the elite cavalry of the king's army quickly entered the battle area. Cobra hastened to command at this time. Jaka, Wei, and you and I will lead the cavalry to guard the ancient pyramid in the middle, Cobra ordered. Jaka glanced at the others and the desert giant, and said, okay. The situation is urgent now, and some people need to divide the work to fight. The desert giant is so powerful that it is difficult for the king's cavalry to deal with it. So I had to leave it to Rog and Sauron. After all, too many other people will only add to the chaos. At this moment, Vivi suddenly said to Cobra, I want to join the battle. Father. Cobra looked at Vivi, and locked eyes with her for a few seconds. Go, be careful, Cobra said. Wei nodded happily and said, okay. Cobra saw the strength in Vivi's eyes. Vivi is not that kind of weak girl. She is a brave princess who is willing to sacrifice for the country and the people. Wei rode her horse to attack with Rog and the others. At this moment, there was a whistling sound in the sky. Bell, who was originally flying at an altitude of more than 1,000 meters, flew down. Quickly flew to Wei's side. Bell Vivi said. Your Majesty Princess, don't say anything. Hurry up and get on my back. You want to fight, Bell said directly. Wei was a little surprised, and then said, okay. She jumped quickly from the horse directly onto Bear's back. Bell looked at Jaka again and said, Your Majesty Cobra, you will protect him. There must be no problems. Don't worry, Jaka said boldly. The two looked directly at each other. Bell and Jaka are more than mere ministers of defense of the kingdom. Also like brothers. Bell carried Wei on his back, but because he was worried about the lack of weapons, he quickly asked the cavalry for a shoulder-mounted artillery and cannon shells. We flew up. Wei said to the others. Bell picked up Wei and kept flying higher into the sky. Luffy looked at Bell and Vivi who flew into the sky, and said, that's great, I can fly. Chopper also said enviously, I want to fly up too. Nami took the opportunity to ride her horse to Cobra's side and said, Your Majesty, I think I'll be with you. Cobra said, okay. Nami knew that she was not strong enough to fight, so it was better to hide behind. Bell picked up and Wei continued to soar higher. Wei sitting on Bell's back and Bell below are recalling the past. When Wei was young, Wei always sat on Bell's back and soared in the sky. That time was for fun. Now it's for the fight. The battle for the future of Alabasta and the world. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 341. Vivi continued to soar in Bell. Finally, we reached more than 1,000 meters in the air. Here Wei Wei aimed her shoulder-mounted cannon at the desert giant. The desert giant is fighting a stream of flames and a stream of white smoke. Now the desert giant is fighting fiercely with Smoker and Ace. Smoker and Ace both exerted their full strength and fought desperately. However, the incomparably huge desert giant is very resistant to fighting. In long-term depletion, desert giants are able to continuously replenish sand from the desert land below. On the desert land, Rog, Zoro, Luffy and Usopp rode strong horses and rushed towards the desert giant. As it got closer, everyone could see the more detailed appearance of this desert giant more clearly. The meter-tall desert giant holds a meter-long desert scimitar and a huge circular shield with a diameter of more than meters. That huge face is very similar to Crocodile. Wow, it's really shocking, Luffy said with emotion after seeing this behemoth. It's like a moving mountain, Chopper said in shock. When Usopp saw this giant desert giant that was as huge as a mountain, he also pretended to be mysterious. This is the first time Captain Usopp has seen such a huge monster. And it was formed of sand. Crocodile actually created such a huge monster, Sanji sighed. There are challenges to defeating it, Zoro said, full of battle. Let's go together, Rog said. In this case, I also want to show off my skills, Colonel Hina also said. Unexpectedly, find its weakness like a ghost, and kill it, said the king of ninjas. Let it taste the power of magic, said the spring goddess. Now everyone needs to work together to destroy this huge monster. Usopp took the lead in pulling off the goggles on his head, carefully observing the specific condition of the desert giant. The more I observe Usopp, the more I am deeply moved. It's a giant. It's almost like a real giant, Usopp said. Compared with everyone else, the desert giant created by Crocodile is simply the difference between humans and ants. The behemoth also kept attacking Ace and Smoker with its huge desert scimitar. Ace and Smog, the two powerhouses of the natural system, fought fiercely with the desert giants. Rog looked at the desert giants who were constantly fighting. The problem before us now is how to eliminate this behemoth. The desert giant is so huge, of course everyone's strength is not weak. At this time, Crocodile inside the desert giant also felt that the battle was a bit exhausting. Although he is very powerful, his abilities are brought into full play in the desert area. But even that has limits. To maintain a desert giant, and a desert giant with such a powerful combat power actually needs a lot of strength. Moreover, the desert giant constantly needs to make up for its damaged body, which further erodes Crocodile's strength. Crocodile also decided to use more powerful attacks to eliminate opponents. The desert giant opened its mouth and aimed at Ace, who was flying. Ace glanced at the desert giant and quickly gathered flames in his fist. It seems that your fist is not enough for you. Ace's right fist gathered amazing flames again. Fire punch. Ace slammed his right fist out, and a huge burst of flame shot out of his right fist. The huge fist flame flew towards the desert giant's head. At this moment, an astonishing attraction suddenly appeared in the mouth of the desert giant. This attraction sucked all the flame fists over. Although the original direction of the flame fist was also attacking the head of the desert giant, it was obviously deviated under this attraction. What on earth is he going to do? Ace looked at the desert giant strangely. I don't know what Crocodile is going to do inside. The flaming fist was attracted, and then the desert giant suddenly raised a huge round shield. The huge round shield was right in front of the drawn flame fist. The flaming fist struck the giant's circular shield. Boom! An astonishing explosion sounded. Flames and explosions flew across the circular shield. But the attack was successfully blocked. That's how it is, Ace said, seeing the result like this. It turned out that this time Crocodile manipulated the desert giant to use attraction to change the attack direction of the fire fist so that he could resist it with his own defense. This is like the opponent shooting a bow and arrow, but you can change the direction of the bow and arrow. Make the bow and arrow hit your own shield in the direction you planned. If the opponent's attack cannot be stopped, then it is possible to change the direction and block it. This is how Crocodile strengthens the abilities of the desert giants. After all, Crocodile itself is located inside the desert giant. So the desert giant can be enhanced at any time. Oh, the desert giant redirected that fire just now. Smoker also noticed. At this moment, Crocodile's voice suddenly came from among the desert giants. "Ahahaha, you guys, you will soon experience what despair is." The desert giant then opened its huge mouth again, and then the powerful attraction continuously sucked everything outside from this huge mouth. The desert giant's mouth was first aimed at Ace. Ace was sucked towards the desert giant's mouth. This is such a powerful attraction. Ace also found it difficult to break free while flying at full strength. Ace's body was quickly sucked towards the desert giant's mouth. But at this moment, the desert giant suddenly swung a huge desert scimitar on his right arm. One knife is to cut over. The huge desert scimitar hit Ace hard. What? Ace was struck by a desert scimitar. The whole person flew out. The huge impact of the desert scimitar sent Ace flying. In the end, Ace fell heavily to the desert ground. Boom! Ace hit the desert ground like a cannonball. Luffy also saw this and shouted in surprise, "Ace!" Luffy rode on the horse and ran towards the place where Ace fell. Rog and others looked at the desert giant. Now the desert giant is attracting Smoker in the sky again. Smoker dodges quickly. But the powerful attraction of the desert giant's mouth attracted Smoker. A streak of white smoke advanced in the sky, unable to advance or retreat. Just keep shaking. The mouth of the desert giant issued a powerful attraction behind Smoker. Smoker struggled desperately to break free in the sky. But it still couldn't fly away. What a shame, it won't stop if you don't do it. Smoker spun his body quickly this time. The speed is also increased to the fastest. White smoke. Bow and arrow. Pirate plant fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 342. Smoker's body almost turned into a huge whirling bow of white smoke. But this time Smoker did not continue to attack. Instead, it simply turned around and attacked the desert giant's head and mouth. Smoker will become extremely fast this time and is in attack mode. Finally Smoker burst into the desert giant's mouth. Crocodile, who manipulated the desert giant, also found that Smoker rushed into the mouth of the desert giant. "Oh, you think you can deal with me like this?" Crocodile is manipulating the desert giant again. At this time, Smoker was already in the mouth of the desert giant. When Smog was fighting the Sphinx created by Crocodile before, he entered the body of the Sphinx to destroy the earth. Now Smoker wants to fight in the body of the desert giant. This is the inside of the desert giant. It's just right here. Smoker looked around and said. At this moment, the mouth of the desert giant suddenly spun violently like in a desert storm. Although the scope of the storm was only in the mouth of the desert giant, it made Smoker's body constantly upside down, left, right, back and forth. This must be Crocodile's doing. Smoker felt the surroundings were spinning. His body will be damaged if he stays here for a long time. Smoker tried his best to quickly align his body with the exit of the desert giant's mouth. There is a bright world outside. Smoker's body speeded up, and he rushed towards the exit. The desert giant's mouth was about to close quickly. Smoker accelerated quickly, and finally rushed out of the desert giant's mouth. But just after rushing out of the desert giant's mouth, Smoker was slashed by the desert machete. What? Smoker gets hit by the desert scimitar. The whole person lost his direction and fell down. At this time, Rog and Luffy are at the place where Ace was shot down. Ace also stood up at this time, only to see Smoker also being knocked down. With a final boom, Smoker crashed to the nearby desert ground. Ace looked at Smoker and said, the opponent is too strong. The desert giant didn't stop moving at this time, but took earth-shattering steps and walked towards everyone continuously. "Okay, everyone, come on," Roger said. "There is no other way, let's go," everyone said. Zoro and the Ninja King took the lead and rushed over quickly. Sauron held Yukisu and Onitsu tightly in his hands, and held the word Hideo in his mouth. The pirate swordsman quickly rushed to the desert giant's left leg. Zoro aimed at the opponent's ankle and began to attack. Three-sword style. Tornado. Zoro's body spun, and the three samurai swords all spun and slashed out powerful sword energy. The sword energy like a tornado began to violently attack the desert giant's left ankle. Huge amounts of sand were knocked off the ankles. The king of ninja also rushed to the desert giant's right leg. He aimed at the desert giant's right ankle and also attacked. The ninja took out 3 bamboo tubes of explosives from the furoshiki at his waist. These bamboo tubes contain surprisingly powerful chemical explosives. 3 sticks of bamboo tube explosives were placed on the right ankle of the desert giant by the king of ninjas. The ninja king opened the distance, and the 3 bamboo tubes of explosives all exploded. Boom 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 boom. The violent explosion blasted the sand away like an avalanche. This is not over yet, the king of ninjas is trying to strengthen the kill again. He quickly took out a few specially made explosive shurikens from his waist bag. The explosive shuriken was quickly thrown by the ninja king to the right ankle of the already severely injured desert giant. There were several more explosions, and the desert giant's right ankle was further severely injured. Under the joint attack of the two, the desert giant was also forced to stop advancing. But at this time, large pieces of sand began to gather at the desert giant's 2 ankles. Sauron and the Ninja King watched helplessly as the desert giant's ankles quickly recovered. "What a strong resilience," Zoro said. "Our firepower is still not enough," said the Ninja King. At this time, Roger and Luffy also rushed forward. The stake air cannon on Rog's left arm is fully charged. He aimed the stake air cannon at the desert giant's left foot. Emission. A huge stream of air shot out from the wooden pile air cannon. Finally hit the left foot of the desert giant. The desert giant's left foot exploded quickly, and a large amount of sand was blown away. Rubber tempest. Luffy quickly rushed to the desert giant's left foot, stretched his arms quickly and punched dozens of punches to attack the desert giant's left foot. The desert giant took a double blow to his left foot. A large amount of sand is scattered. But it was quickly replenished from the desert land below. At this time, the spring goddess also used the silver axe. The goddess of the fountain raised her silver axe above her head. She whispered the ancient magic spell in her mouth. Frost quickly appeared on the silver axe. Then snowflakes, then ice. In the end a giant puck was formed. "Go ahead, hockey." The goddess of springs shoots the puck. The puck ended up hitting the desert giant's left foot. After the violent explosion, the desert giant's left foot was quickly covered by more ice. This left foot is enough to crush a mansion flat. But the ice ball froze the entire left foot. The frozen left foot also directly supported the action of the desert giant. "Everyone, hurry up now," Roger said. "Okay, take the opportunity to solve it," Sanji said. "I'll take this guy with a black spear," Colonel Hina said. Rog fired a wooden pile air cannon, Luffy hit a violent rubber fist, Sauron slashed with a powerful sword, and the Ninja King moved directly to the desert giant's legs and knees for more intense damage. Sanji also approached the desert giant's legs. Although this enemy is astonishingly large. But Sanji still found some places to attack. Kick against etiquette. Superlative ground meat. Sanji constantly uses various kicks to attack the desert giant. Colonel Hina also fully demonstrated her ability to produce black spears. Colonel Hina raised his arms towards the desert giant. Immediately, 2 huge black spears as thick as arms appeared on her arms. Black spear. Hina fired two black spears from both arms. Hit the desert giant in the leg. Under the fierce attack of the crowd, both legs of the desert giant were severely injured. But when the desert giant's two legs began to crumble, Crocodile once again mobilized its strength to absorb amazing sand from the desert land below to repair the desert giant's two huge legs. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 343. Under Crocodile's power, the desert giant's two legs were restored again. After the desert giant's legs recovered, the behemoth continued on with its giant strides. "Damn it, why can't I be killed?" Usopp said anxiously. To everyone, the desert giant is like an unshakable mountain. At this time, everyone felt that it was difficult to support themselves. But Ace also stepped forward. "Everyone, find a way to contain this monster." "I'm going to use the most powerful trick," Ace said. Rog, Zoro, and Luffy all looked at Ace. Now this flame-like young man can be said to be an extremely important fighter for everyone to defeat the behemoth in front of them. "Okay, leave it to us." Rog, Sauron, Usopp and Luffy worked together to attack the desert giant. Ace took this opportunity to quickly gather the power in his body. The fierce battle of attrition just now has already consumed a lot of Ace's strength, but now is a very important time. The success of this attack is very crucial. Ace gathered the strength in his body. He also sits a little further back. Both Rog and Sauron rushed to attack. Circle after circle of flames appeared around Ace's body again. These flames continue to expand from the inside out. Ace unleashed the power in his body to the maximum. The flames sprang up. A huge spherical flame quickly formed from the ground. Ace raised the huge spherical flame. It's like a Vulcan holding up a little sun. Great flame ring. Yan Emperor. The little sun in Ace's hand was thrown at the desert giant. This little sun was thrown onto the body of the desert giant. But at this moment, the shield on the desert giant's left arm suddenly blocked it. A huge round shield blocks the little sun. Boom rumble. Accompanied by an extremely violent explosion, the little sun exploded amazingly on the huge shield. The fire of the explosion is really like the sun. The huge shield in the desert giant's hand was hit by Ace's ace move, Great Flame Ring. Yandy. The violent explosion destroyed the huge shield. The collateral damage was the huge left arm of the desert giant. After the earth-shattering explosion, Ace looked at the severely injured desert giant. Most of the desert giant's left arm was blown off. Rogue and Usopp also saw this spectacular scene. This spectacular scene shocked everyone deeply. "It's really unimaginable destructive power," Usopp said in shock. The shield just now was actually extremely hard, but it was still destroyed. "Is this the power of flames?" Rog also said in shock. Although the desert giant's body is made of sand. But after being transformed by Crocodile's power, the body of the desert giant is comparable to the hardness of a strong beast. The huge shield and the desert scimitar in his hand are as hard as steel. Ace's trump card attack was used twice in total. The first time was to hit the huge body of the desert giant squarely. With one blow, most of the desert giant's body was blown up. The second time was the blow just now. Didn't destroy the desert giant too much though. But the huge shield of the desert giant was destroyed. "It's really powerful." Crocodile, who was inside the desert giant at this time, was shocked. Ace panted and looked at the desert giant. At this time, the desert giant suddenly swung the huge desert scimitar on his right arm and slashed towards him. "Damn it, get out of here," Sanji said. With this blow, the huge desert scimitar slashed down at high speed. Everyone quickly ran away. Any blow now is very terrifying. Boom. The desert giant's desert scimitar hit the desert land. The huge impact threw everyone up and then fell heavily to the surrounding desert land. "Death to me." Crocodile's angry voice came from among the desert giants. The desert giant wielded a huge meter-long desert scimitar, constantly slashing and attacking. In this continuous attack, the desert giant's attack became more and more intense. The desert land was hit by the violent attack of the desert scimitar, and the dust was flying, and there were huge ravines all over the place. At this time, Bel, who was flying in the sky, and Wei, who was on his back, both saw the fierce battle in front of them. Bel, it's time for us to take action. Even if we can't defeat the opponent, we can still inflict some damage on him. At least divert the opponent's attention, Wei said to Bel. Okay, Your Majesty. Bel was very aware of Wei's strong will to fight. Bel lowered his altitude and reached about meters in the air. Wei aimed the shoulder-mounted cannon at the desert giant in the middle of the battle. Although she is currently flying, Wei has been flying in the sky of Alabasta on Bel's back since she was a child. With this kind of flying movement, Wei can still complete the aiming. The sights of the shoulder-fired artillery were aimed at the desert giant's eyes. Crocodile, this shot is not only to support friends. It is also to punish you for what you did to Alabasta, Wei said. Her finger pulled the trigger. Boom! A cannon sounded, and a small shell with a diameter of centimeters was fired from the muzzle of the shoulder-mounted artillery. This cannonball, full of revenge and justice, hit the desert giant's left eye. After a burst of explosions, the desert giant's left eye was shrouded in flames. The desert giant stopped swinging the desert scimitar to attack Rog and the others on the ground. The attention of this behemoth was indeed attracted by a cannonball fired by Wei. Wei, who was standing on Bel's back, saw this situation and said happily, "Sure enough, the enemy's attention has been attracted." Desert giants aren't just attention-grabbing. Under the control of Crocodile, this behemoth began to raise the huge desert scimitar on its right arm. It turns out to be Princess Wei. Please die with that bird. Crocodile roared with an earth-shaking voice. Then the huge monster threw the huge desert scimitar clenched in its right arm towards Princess Vivi and Bel, who was flying with her on his back. "Oh my God, Bel, be careful!" Vivi shouted urgently. "Your Majesty, Wei, hurry up!" Bel shouted urgently. Wei threw away the shoulder-mounted cannon in her hand, and quickly grabbed Bel. Bel flew extremely fast, and his speed was accelerated by more than 10 times in a short time. Skywing. Bel flew extremely fast. This powerful speed made Bel quickly fly to another direction. It was almost a second away from the huge and fast desert scimitar. In Wei's eyes, she could only see the desert scimitar spinning and passing from the side and rear. The behemoth almost hit Bel and her. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 344. After evading this attack, Wei saw that huge meter-long desert scimitar was still spinning and flying towards the desert land in the distance. Finally, the desert scimitar landed heavily on the desert land. The meter-long desert scimitar was thrust into the desert tens of meters deep. A huge hilt and part of the blade were also exposed. But because he left the desert giant, he also lost the support of Crocodile's power. Soon, this huge desert scimitar collapsed into a pile of sand. Wei looked at the dissipated huge desert scimitar with lingering fear. Bel, thanks to you, Wei praised. Bel's current flying speed has returned to normal. Just now he used the Skywing wing, which allowed him to increase his speed extremely quickly in a short period of time. The soaring wings can only be used in a state of high-speed flight. Fortunately, Bel has been flying at high speed just now. Then use this ace flying ability in time. Successfully let him and Wei out of danger. Your Majesty Wei, it is my duty to keep you safe. And I am fighting side by side with you now. A knight without a horse is not a good knight, is he? Bel asked. After hearing Bel's words, Wei showed a strong smile again on her face. Yes, Bel. Vivi nodded. Bel was guarding Wei when she was young. Belle often transforms into the giant falcon form, and takes Vivi to travel in the vast sky of Alabasta. Wai Wei is naturally very happy, and often talks with Belle to discuss life issues. Every time, Belle was able to understand the righteousness and tell Wai Wei a very useful truth. Okay, Belle. Let us work hard, together with other partners, to defeat Crocodile, Wai Wei said with great momentum. Okay, Belle said full of fighting spirit. Belle took Wai Wei to continue flying, this time towards the ancient pyramids. Because of the evasion just now, Wai Wei dropped the shoulder-mounted artillery and shells. New weapons need to be replenished now. In front of the pyramid in the center of the ancient pyramid, Cobra and Jaka and 1,000 elite cavalry guard here. They are the last line of defense against Crocodile. Gaka, this desert giant is really unimaginably powerful, Cobra said after observing the battle for a while. Jaka on the side was also very worried, and said, Your Majesty, the opponent is formidable against the sky. Our hope lies in the group of Wai Wei's partners. Nami hid far away at the back. From time to time, I used a telescope to observe the fierce battle on the desert land. Fortunately, I rationally hid behind Nami's side after observing the battle. To be honest, she has no way of judging whether Rog, Sauron, and Luffy can win the battle in the end. After all, Crocodile is too powerful. At this time, Nami suddenly glanced at the ancient pyramid behind her. This pyramid is extremely majestic. It is covered with traces of heavy weathering left by the years. Seeing this ancient building, Nami also wondered if there was any treasure inside. At this moment, there was a whistling sound in the sky. Cobra, Jaka, and the elite cavalry of the king's army looked up. I saw Belle flying over with Wai Wei on board. Belle quickly fell to the ground. Wai Wei quickly jumped down and said, Jaka, hurry up and get more weapons. We need supplies. Okay, hurry up and prepare weapons for your majesty, Wai Wei, Jaka ordered quickly. The elite cavalry of the king's army quickly gave Belle and Wai Wei the portable artillery and some bombs they carried. Thank you everyone. We continue to fight, Wai Wei said, and at the same time quickly stood on Belle's back again. Your Majesty, Wai Wei, stand firm. Belle quickly took off again. This time the two carried more weapons. Not only does Vivi have to fight, Belle also wants to fight stronger. Cobra didn't say much now. He just silently prayed for Wai Wei and her companions together with Jaka and other cavalrymen of the king's army. Although Wai Wei gave everyone fighting on the ground a chance to breathe, but Rog and Sauron still fought very hard. The desert giant was restored by Crocodile's ability again. Now wielding a huge desert scimitar and a huge round shield to fight. So powerful, almost invincible, Sanji breathed heavily. Don't be so discouraged. Curl your eyebrows, Zoro said with sweat on his face. Don't worry, Green Algae Head, you've persisted. Can't I do it? Sanji asked disdainfully. The two rushed over again and started a fierce battle with the desert giant. It is no problem for two people to attack thousands of troops. But a war of attrition with this desert giant is very painful. Every time when I feel that I have successfully destroyed a part of the opponent, I quickly use the sand on the desert land to recover. Is there really no way? Usopp asked Rogue. After Rog went through the battle, the walnut-heavy armor was also scarred. Now we are almost completely in trouble, Rog also said very tiredly. Although everyone is still full of fighting spirit, they are powerless. Everyone was exhausted physically and mentally. Gradually become more and more passive in the battle. Everyone is already a little overwhelmed. Ace was also very tired from the battle. He had spent a lot of energy fighting the desert giant before. When everyone's support arrived, he was finally able to take a breather. But now the desert giants began to gain the upper hand in the battle. It is only a matter of time before they are defeated like this. After another battle, Ace gasped and said, Is there really no way? Can't say no. A majestic voice sounded. Ace looked nearby, where Smoker was standing. Smoker looked at Ace and said, "What do you mean?" Smoker looked at him too, and then at the gigantic desert giant. "Have you ever experimented with combo skills?" Smoker asked. After hearing this, Ace's face became serious, and he said, "You mean that the two cooperate with each other to attack? This kind of attack often requires the coordination of devil fruit users to be effective." "Exactly. You are fire and I am smoke. The two are in conflict with each other. But they are neither superior nor inferior." "What would happen if the two joined forces?" Smoker said. Ace fell into thought after hearing Smoker's words. Smoker clearly kicked them out to fight with each other. It was even said to be a combination of combat skills. Ace came into contact with many powerful devil fruit ability users in the Whitebeard Pirates. Among them, Marco the Phoenix, who was at the same level as him, once used ability attacks with him in a battle. As a result, only 2 people wiped out a fleet of 10 large pirate ships. Powerful devil fruit ability users use ability attacks in combination, which is completely a powerful attack that can destroy the world. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 345. Ace looked at Smoker and said, "Okay." Seeing that Ace had been persuaded, Smoker said expectantly, "Okay, let's start our own tricks. In the current situation, there is no other way except for 2 people to join forces. In the face of powerful enemies, there is nothing that cannot be overcome. Ace is one of the pillars of the powerful Whitebeard Pirates, and Smoker is a well-known smoke hunter in the Navy headquarters. But facing Crocodile's powerful strength, the two chose to cooperate." "Leave it to us," Ace said loudly. "Please don't worry, everyone," Smoker said loudly. Rog, Zoro, and Sanji looked back at them. "This is..." Sanji said. Not only Sanji, but Hina was also very surprised. "Smorg, you have to fight with the pirates," Hina said. From Hina's point of view, it is impossible for Smoker, who hates pirates so much, to join hands with pirates. That is simply a fantasy. But now Smoker is actually joining forces with Ace for the sake of the overall situation. Rog looked at the two of them. Since the two of them looked like this, there must be a way to launch an extremely powerful attack. "I leave it to you," Roger said. Smoker and Ace continued to move forward. Rog, Saran, and others all retreated one after another. The desert giant continued to move forward, and Crocodile inside found Ace and Smoker acting together. "What on earth are they doing?" Crocodile was full of doubts. Ace on the ground quickly elementalized his body. His body turned into flames and flew into the sky. Smoker's body also turned into smoke and flew into the sky. Ace and Smoker flew more than 200 meters into the air in one breath. Here it is exactly the same level as the desert giant's chest. In the sky, Ace returned to his human form. Smoker also returned to human form. Ace clenched his right fist and drew it back. All the flame power in his body was concentrated on his right fist. The right fist burned with an astonishing blazing flame. Smoker clenched his right fist and retracted it back. All the strength in his body is concentrated on the right fist. "White smoke!" Smoker yelled. His right fist slammed forward. Smoker's fist shot out, turning into an astonishingly large cloud of smoke. "Fire punch!" Ace yelled too. The right fist slams forward. The huge flaming fist shot out. The white smoke flew towards the desert giant together with the fire fist. Everyone, whether it's Ace and Smoke or Bell and Wei in the sky. It's still Rog and Zoro on the ground, as well as Sanji and Luffy. Both saw flames and white smoke flying violently towards the desert giant. Crocodile among the desert giants felt more powerful than ever when he saw the white smoke and fire punch coming from the oncoming attack. He quickly manipulated the desert giant to use a 100-meter round shield to block his chest. But it's not just over. White smoke and fire fists rotated in the air, and finally they kept getting closer and merged together. The two fused powerful forces rotated alternately, piercing the desert giant like a giant pyrotechnic sword. Firework fusion. Supergiant sword. Ace and Smoker yelled in unison. The supergiant sword that combines fireworks into one is far more than the original sum of the two. The power of the supergiant sword is not only twice the original, but also more than 10 times stronger. The supergiant hit the shield that the desert giant had in front of his chest. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion occurred on the desert giant's shield. This explosion made the world feel ashamed. Rog, Zoro, Sanji, and others were all shocked by this earth-shattering explosion. Bell in the sky and Wei on the back both saw this astonishing sight from a high altitude. "This is such a powerful force," Wei said in shock. "The powerful force that destroys the world," Bell said in shock. Under this powerful attack, the desert giant's shield began to shatter. Under the power of Crocodile, this huge shield was made as hard as steel. But even so, the supergiant sword combined with white smoke and fire fist shattered the shield. There was a harsh sound, and the huge shield was shattered. Then the fragments turned back into sand and fell onto the desert ground. However, the attack of the supergiant sword is not over. The power of the supergiant sword continued to attack the body of the desert giant. The desert giant's body is far less hard than a shield. Crocodile is in the depths of the desert giants. But this powerful king of the desert also felt fear. If the desert giant is an evil god, then the supergiant sword is the power to kill gods. The supergiant sword hit the body of the desert giant, piercing it. Afterwards, the huge explosive power began to spread centered on the desert giant. The pyrotechnic explosion spreads around, mixed with soaring dust. Rog and Saran on the ground were forced to lie down in order to avoid the impact. However, everyone was also knocked away by the shock wave. Bell and Wei in the sky looked at the unimaginable explosion. After attacking with all their strength, Ace and Smoker watched the earth-shattering destructive power. Neither of them said a word, they just looked at the explosion of flames, smoke, and dust. The power of flames and smoke combined has infinite destructive power. The power of the two can be contended, but the combination can also destroy powerful enemies. Cobra and Jacka on the other side of the ancient pyramid and the cavalry of the king's army looked at the scene in shock. Crocodile has the power to control the desert, but there are also forces in the world that can contend with it. The astonishing explosion produced an astonishing amount of flames, smoke, and dust. After the explosion, the shadow of the desert giant disappeared without a trace. However, it took a long time for a large amount of flames, smoke, and dust to gradually dissipate. On the desert land, Rog, Saran, and his party were shocked and flew far away. In the desert, Roger struggled to stand up for a while. A little dizzy. The strong explosion just now threw Rog into the air, but it didn't cause much damage. Even without the walnut-heavy armor, this desert land is soft enough to protect the human body from harm. Roger stood up again, shaking off the sand on his body. Zoro and others also stood up one after another. Now everyone is relieved. In Rog's mind, the horrible explosion just now still exists. The kind of shocking force that destroys the world. It's enough to make everyone feel their hearts trembling. I didn't expect Smoker and Ace to have such a powerful attack power after joining forces. Smoker and Ace also fell down. Everyone walked to the place where the desert giant was just now.